Shin Megami Tensei V was the first Shin Megami Tensei game I ever played. Shin Megami Tensei V was also the first JRPG game that I ever beat, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One criticism I often have heard directed at Shin Megami Tensei V is that its story did not do enough to develop its human characters. And to be honest, you all, there is definitely some merit to that. I definitely won't lie. And as a matter of fact, I believe that there is a lot of merit to it. But Shin Megami Tensei V pulls a very interesting move. And I don't know if it was because I was taking notes when I was playing the game. And I tried to make sure that I explored a lot of it in both the human or the earthly realm and also the demon realm, which I'm going to talk about later in the video. Playing the game, I peeped a certain philosophy of humanism. Now you all, yes, this is going to be a video that's dealing with philosophy. It's going to deal with a philosophy within Shin Megami Tensei V that I call humanism. So a quick Google dictionary definition of what humanism is, because it'll probably help you understand what I'm talking about later in the video. So humanism is a philosophy that attaches prime importance to humans rather than divine or supernatural matters. Humanist beliefs stress the potential value and goodness of human beings. It emphasizes common human needs, and it seeks solely rational ways of solving human problems. So let's get into it. Shin Megami Tensei V, Chapter 1, The Rise of Man. Within the first several big cutscenes in Shin Megami Tensei V's narrative, the game draws an allusion to a biblical story known as the Garden of Eden. I don't know if you all know what the Garden of Eden was or that story, but just in case there's anybody who's watching this video and loves Shin Megami Tensei V but doesn't really know that story, I'm basically going to paraphrase at the same time, draw the connection to what Shin Megami Tensei V did. So essentially what we learned in the beginning of Shin Megami Tensei V, we learned that there was a creator, a god, who took the throne. And this throne, what this throne is, it is explained later in the game, but essentially this throne made them like the ultimate god of Shin Megami Tensei V. And when they took this throne, they hoarded these things known as the fruit of knowledge. And they took all of these fruits of knowledge and they placed them into this ultimate paradise that they would place humans within. They would place them within this ultimate paradise. And within this ultimate paradise, humans would be taken care of. Like they would be given everything that they would need to thrive and strive. However, there was one thing within this ultimate order paradise that the creator did not want humans to mess with. And this thing was known as the tree of knowledge. In the biblical story of the Garden of Eden, we get the same thing. We get two humans placed within an ultimate paradise, and they're given everything that they need to thrive, but they're told not to mess with one thing. They're told not to eat the fruits of something known as the tree of knowledge. The full name of this tree is called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, what happens in Shin Megami Tensei V and also what happens in the biblical story is that a serpent enters the paradise. It essentially tempted humans, and it told them, if you all eat this fruit, you will become closer to God, to the creator. And Shin Megami Tensei V is this known. And humans, of course, they ended up doing it. Since I was young, one of the main lessons that I took from this is that, first off, it was the humanistic, the flawed, and the curious nature of humankind that caused them to do this. And in doing so, this is what makes it so that in order to strive and thrive, humans now have to develop sciences, technology, engineering, and mathematics such that we can create the world or sculpt the world closer to our vision. And that essentially, that whole thing about recreating the world or creating the world closer to your vision begins to appear in Shin Megami Tensei V. So how does this relate to it? The simple fact that by eating this fruit, humans will be able to create and order the world closer to the way that God can. It elevates humans. It stresses the importance and the ability of humans to thrive and survive in this world. I gave y'all the dictionary definition of humanism. That aligns with it, does it not? But this is where we begin to see the philosophy of humanism pop up in Shin Megami Tensei V. Now, another way we see it is in the 3 different Tokyos that we see in the game. We see what's known as the false Tokyo, which is the Tokyo that is in right in the beginning of the game, and it pops up. And this is the Tokyo that humans live in within the earthly realm. But then we have real Tokyo, which is the Tokyo that we see shortly after we leave the false Tokyo, and it's known as the Minato. And there are more regions of it. They pop up later in the game, but these regions are what is the Tokyo that the demons inhabit. You wake up in this realm and it's a desert, dang near every direction you look. And then as soon as you take a few footsteps out, you get attacked by demons. Then you have the 3rd Tokyo. This 3rd Tokyo we never really saw, but it was the original Tokyo, obviously. And so the false Tokyo is basically it was a divine miracle pulled by the creator. It was a divine miracle where he almost seamlessly created the Tokyo that humans had built because it had been dragged into the Da'at. What do we notice between all of these 3 Tokyos? How do we compare and contrast them? Simply put, the Tokyo that the creator recreated and the Tokyo that humans created, they are much more similar. They're far more ordered. They have a certain balance within them that the real Tokyo, the one that demonkind now inhabits, does not have that. And it barely provides any accommodation. It has buildings that are essentially condemned. You wouldn't want to live there. The trains, I'm pretty sure the trains don't operate. And the few cars that you do see scattered across, I guarantee you couldn't drive them afoot. They wouldn't run. You probably push them, but I don't know why you want to do that. And there's a reason for this difference, because demonkind, because the creator took the fruit, they now lack the ability to order their world and create and shape the world closer to their vision. They are farther from God or the creator than humans are. Humans had their Tokyo at work. They had buildings you could inhabit. They had cars that you could drive. They had trains that you could operate. When it comes to demonkind, because they're so far from God, they only really understand chaos. They don't understand order. Hold on. Did this demon just call me a hoe? Nah. See, look, I told y'all demons don't understand order. He way out of order for that, so I'm about to put him in order.
Get ready for the next battle.
Oh, see, you brought your homeboy too. That don't mean nothing to me. Watch this. Bop, yup. Okay. Yup. Get him down. Wait, no. Let him stand up. Yep, come here. Let me show you something real quick. Who will hold now? Yep, bow. It's game over. Game over. Don't ever disrespect me like that. They never learn. I'm not gonna waste more time with this, y'all. As well, remember I mentioned that it was called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Good and evil are 2 contrasts. If you understand good, then it's possible for you to understand evil, and you have an understanding over the 2 contrasts, so you really understand what good and evil are. If you have an understanding of the contrast between order and chaos, you understand very strongly what both order looks like and what chaos looks like. This is a contrast. This is something that humans got that put them closer to God when they ate from the tree of knowledge and they ate that fruit. Now, Shin Megami Tensei, through this philosophy of humanism, and I'm not sure if many people caught it, however, I did, I peeped its presence. And I hope that this series of video essays once again can introduce it to the discussion of this game's story. Anyways, what I just spoke about with the Garden of Eden thing and the different Tokyos and the chaos and order differences between them is not the only revelation of humanism within Shin Megami Tensei's story. Now, what I'm about to do here, people, is I'm about to throw a red herring at you all. So, one thing that I peeped that was very interesting about Shin Megami Tensei V, and I'll be honest, during the second return back to the human realm, the human Tokyo, I was like, this is kind of boring. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, this is not interesting. It was much more fun to run around the odd and fight demons and talk to demons and do demon things. I'm like, why they got me back here going to school, talking to unnamed NPCs and talking to characters on the roof of the dorm? I'm like, this is whack. It's kind of boring, low key. Well, it's not whack, but you know, like, y'all get my point. It's not as interesting as exploring the odds. And as a matter of fact, you all, it did not get interesting until the demons began to invade and break through the barrier at Josoji Temple and then go terrorize the students at the school. And then the main character turns back into their Nahobino form, and now I'm out here fighting demons in the school and fighting demons in front of Josoji Temple, and everything is popping up off, and I'm like, yeah, now Shin Megami Tensei V has my attention again. This is hype. This is interesting. A character in the game actually says, the character's name is Ayogami. I hope I'm saying that correct. I'm sorry if I'm not. They actually said that the more contact humans have with demons, they begin to become less concerned with the happenings of the earthly and the human realm, and they begin to become more invested in the happenings of the demon realm. And that was so interesting because it's like the developers intentionally made the odds more interesting. If they were really going for something humanistic or philosophy of humanism within their story, it's interesting that they pulled that move, and I'll tell you why. If you think about it, if you compare and contrast it, when you're exploring the odds, there are battles, there are demon subquests, money to be earned, and sights to see. The earthly realm mostly has cutscenes and unnamed human dialogue to explore, and when you're exploring and you're moving from different areas, you're controlling a piece that doesn't even look like the character. You're going around talking to people that just have little speech bubbles above their head, and they look like you, but they're just a different color. It's like, this is not as cool. So then now you're probably wondering, you said you threw a red herring at us. So what is the red herring? The earthly realm does present the humanistic and the philosophy of humanism. We see during these visits to the earthly realm, especially the second time, humans dealing with human issues and humanistic problems. We see parental woes with Dazai. We see bullying with Sahori. We see lack of social relationships with the MC. And honestly, we see that throughout the whole game. The main character mainly deals with demons. We see struggling social relations with Tao and Sahori. And we also see nationalism with Yuzuru and the desire to protect your home above all other places. And I understand, you know, bears, dogs, and all those things are also territorial, but we're dealing with humans, and humans also display that time to time. But these actualities, they actually display what the game wants to give a moral for. And this moral is that humans deal with woes outside of demons within their regular human life. So at this point, I hope it's becoming clearer the philosophy of humanism that is spread throughout Shin Megami Tensei V's narrative, and also the way that it mentions it, but it doesn't really put it into the forefront. It's like you have to dive deeper into it. Now, I don't know if I'm reaching. I don't think I am, but this is going to be the end of the video. In this video, in and of itself, this first part, this first chapter probably won't reveal the entire philosophy of humanism contained within Shin Megami Tensei V. However, don't worry, I got it. I plan on doing another video, 2 more videos that kind of deal with this whole philosophy within the game. In the second chapter, as a matter of fact, I actually plan to have it delve much deeper into it. By the end of that video, you all will probably start to see a little more clearer if you're not exactly seeing it right now. So keep checking back on my channel for that. You know how this goes at the end. If you all enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and I definitely want you all to comment, so you know we can talk about, do you agree, do you disagree, do you see it, do you not see it, are you getting to the point where you're like, oh, okay, I kind of see what you're talking about. I would love to talk to you all down in the comments. But anyways, thanks for watching, you all. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.